My name is Sunil Abrol. Let me take this opportunity of welcoming all of you to this ISTD Diploma series of webinars. Today, we have a very special session which is going to be focused on evaluation of training, particularly with focus on Kirkpatrick's 4-step or 4-level model. And to do that, we have a very eminent speaker in the form of Dr. Suruchi Pandey. Dr. Suruchi Pandey has over 2 decades of experience, both in industry as well as in academia. She holds a PhD in management and also has specialized diplomas, one in training and development, and I hope it is from ISTD, and also a diploma in psychotherapy and counseling. So she has specializations in psychotherapy and counseling as well as in training. She has been a recipient of number of awards, including awards for a best faculty member, award for best paper, award for best research, and also has over 40 publications to her credit. I'm sure with her credentials, we will have a wonderful session today. With that background, let me request Dr. Pandey to make her presentation. The format will be that she will take about 35-40 minutes to make her presentation. Whereafter we will have questions, but the participants can always put in their questions while the presentation is on. So with that introduction and with a very special welcome to all of you, Dr. Suruchi and all the participants, the diploma students, ISTD members, and all the invitees who have joined us for this program, very welcome to you. So over to you, Dr. Pandey, for your presentation.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abrol. That was a nice introduction. So I'm going to talk about training evaluation, and then specifically we are going to focus on Kirkpatrick model of evaluation. So to begin with, my slide is not changing. So the objective of session is that to identify what and how to measure as an outcome for each level of training using Kirkpatrick model. So training follows a process. We all know, everyone here is a practitioner or is a student of training and development. The training follows a cycle. And the first step there is the analysis of need, where the identification of need takes place when there is a gap in the expected and actual performance. There could be proactive reasons or there could be reactive training need identification. That links to the design of training, that what is the objective of training, what methodology will be used, and how internal trainer or external trainer, how long the training is going to be, what is the background of the trainees, what is the learning style of the training, all that is considered at the design and development phase. Then actual implementation or delivery of the training takes place. And the last step in the entire training process is the evaluation of training. That is the topic of discussion here. Now, because we have decided that we are going to keep a session interactive, I want to ask participants, and I want them to type in the chat box that when is it that we plan for the evaluation of training. If you see there are 4 steps, actually there are 5-step model, but if there are 4 steps, is it A, analysis of the needs? Is it B, design of training? Or is it C, delivery of training? And 4th one, we know, of course, is the evaluation. A quick, some of you can reply, analysis phase, design phase, evaluation is done at all levels. Wonderful. I'm getting answer over there. That absolutely correct. Actually, it begins from the first step. See, most of them have written analysis there. I don't know why the session was kept there. These audience are beautiful. Now, this is what the founding principle of even Kirkpatrick said in his work. If you read that, effective training evaluation begins with the much before the program even starts. So the time you have decided that this is the training to be held, or this is the training objective, learning objective to be achieved, that is the time itself you have to plan that how you're going to evaluate this training program, because it does not happen at the later stage. Now, evaluating training, why is it that there is a need for evaluation? Because when you read a lot of textbooks or the research paper, because I'm an academician, so it says that yes, trainers are apprehensive about assessing or evaluating training due to many reasons, like who cares? Imparting training is more important than evaluating training, or evaluating. No one is going to look at the evaluation data, or it's a threat to my job, or there could be many other reasons. However, there are many reasons, and one must know, and like the training process itself is not completed till the time we have evaluated the training. And the basic thing is that this evaluation step is again interlinked to the analysis. That means next time, should we do it or no? Is there a change required in the content or the way it was evaluated, or was it worth the money? Or how can we optimize the results for which the training was imparted, or was the quality of the training good enough? So there are many reasons. In fact, we can keep on talking about it and listing the reasons why is it that training should be evaluated. Now, going further, who is interested in this evaluation? There would be many parties or the stakeholders. We will come to this context again towards the end of the session. But there are many parties which are interested. If we see broadly, we can categorize these into four. One is a trainee. Trainee is interested in learning, whether I really learned. So what want to know after the training, where the learning really happened. The trainer actually wants to know the effectiveness of training, the methodology used were correct, the settings were correct, the material provided was correct, the hand holding, the support system being provided, was it appropriate or no? Then the training and development department or L&D managers or L&D concerned people or managerial staff is interested in, because they have utilized the resources in terms of amount of training, the cost that is put in the training, the other resources. There are direct and indirect. So many people are attending training, so that itself is an indirect cost that you are deputing. So if at all so much of resource was used, what is the evaluation of training? Where is it leading to? And finally, management definitely wants to see that how the performance is affected because of the training. So taking this forward, the Donald Kirkpatrick in the year 1959 had proposed this model, and for so many years, if you say, it has been practiced now almost for 60 years, and recently in 2005, there were more changes done to this model. So what model Kirkpatrick proposed, if we link back to the previous slide, it caters to the needs of evaluation of each party that is interested in and various levels of evaluation. So Kirkpatrick proposed 4 levels of evaluation, to begin with reaction evaluation, learning evaluation, transfer evaluation, and result. So his model says is when you use these terms, effectiveness and evaluation, and you really want to prove that training is effective, you must complete all 4 levels of evaluation and then say that yes, training is effective because we have completed 4 levels of evaluation and we prove that training could bring in the results for which it was being conducted. Again, in Kirkpatrick model, the main feature of his model is it follows a time series approach. That means what? Saying that first level, that is reaction level evaluation, can be done immediately after the completion of training. Of course, we are going to reflect at these 4 levels a little more in detail, that when it should be done, how it should be done, and what exactly gets measured. But if we look at the time series, this can be done immediately after the training. The second level, it says that yes, it can start after some time of the training, maybe from 1 to 3 months of gap, or 3 to 6 months after the training session. And then there is the third level, which says that this can be done after 6 to 9 months, because it takes some time for a person to absorb, take it back to the work and start applying what you have learned in the training. And final results evaluation could be 1 year, or even it could take more. There are many examples where companies actually they took 3 to 4 years to establish that yes, training which was imparted could bring in the results in the organization. So now we're going to discuss about each level a little bit more in detail. So first level that Kirkpatrick proposed is a reaction evaluation. So reaction is about to what degree participants react favorably to the training, or if you say, instead of saying training, then customer satisfaction was the term which was being used here. So what do you do? It's just, first thing, it's about measuring emotions or feeling of the learner. Many organizations refer to it as a happy sheets. They make smileys and they measure that how happy or satisfied you're post training from after the training. So that's called a reaction evaluation. Now this phase measures the effectiveness of training program of the employee on the basis of the attitude and perception itself. Now the statistics which is quoted in some of the secondary work, it says more than 84% of the companies at least measure this level of evaluation. Subsequently, they may not be able to do second, third, fourth level of evaluation, but definitely this level of evaluation is being done by most of the companies and most of the training programs. Now, what does reaction actually does? First is it should ask about whether the objective for which training was being conducted, has it been met or no. Then relevance of the training material provided during the training program, methods which were being used by the trainer, and overall reaction of the trainees per se from the training program. The model believes, the reaction believes that trainees are the best judge, adults are the best to know and tell whether the training is effective or no. To take the discussion further, this says that assessment of a learner's reaction or attitude is towards the learning experience, entire the experience of the training, not just achieving the objectives and goals, but this is where the material comes, methodology comes, the trainer comes. It's about the reaction. The first thing that a trainer says, yes, I liked the training, I did not like, in the Likert scale from strongly agree to disagree kind of thing. And this is where they say the questionnaire is the best tool to measure that. How is it that you're going to measure this is the questionnaire, and at the end of the program you can administer, or interim program also, if there's a long-term program, interim program also this could be administered, so that you can take a corrective measure well in time. Now this measures the reaction of the and the attitude towards the program, instructor, the topic, presentation style, schedule, audio visual, venue, food, almost everything relating, the communication part of it, maybe if there's a travel arrangement, stay arrangement, everything here is measured in the reaction evaluation. So key questions which have to be posed here is what is the learner's reaction to the learning environment, and did they really like it? Now we have the data source for this is survey or the questionnaire, or it could be a focus group, or through the interviews also this data could be collected. If the participant set is too big and it's not possible to administer, though because of the technology nowadays it's quite easy, but earlier when it was a pen and paper, they also proposed that some interviews could be conducted, or focus group can also give you this data. Sometimes when the number is big, people it's a group think also which carries. So if everyone is giving good feedback, maybe they will give, or if one person does not like, they will not, or if trainer tried to maybe give feedback to one individual, others also get affected because of it. And in such case, to have more realistic reaction evaluation, focus group or even interview methods could be followed. And just flashing the sample evaluation training form. I know most of you are using it, you have designed on your own, but just a sample. Now what I'm going to discuss further is some questions, just for an example, that what kind of questionnaire, what does a questionnaire mean, and what kind of question should be there, and what is the correct way of doing it, and what is not so right way of doing it. So take the first example. First thing is to keep in mind is write simply and clearly and make it more meaning obvious. So the not so correct answer would be, to what extent supervisors provide information regarding the training quality of performance of people at your level, or how the correct way of doing it would be, how often does your boss give you feedback on your job. So you see, there are various ways by which you can do it, and not so correct way and right way has been mentioned. Take the second example. I only ask one question at the time. At times there are 2 or 3 questions being missed. Now, like in this one, you see both organizations and my role within the organizations are clear. Now, if you have to do it correctly, you should split it into 2. Organization goals are a little different than individual goals, but it should be clear to an individual, and hence that's the correct way of asking a question. Now, what I'm going to do in the next slide is I'm giving you a question. I'm giving you a attribute of a good questionnaire, that is to provide discrete response to the options. And there are 2 options. You have to tell me in the chat box that which one of it is correct, the first option or the second option. Quickly, some of you, but that tells the trainer if everyone is on track. Second option, okay. Second. Option 1. Good. That means people are reading and they are here replying to me. Okay, so correct option in this case would be option 2, just for everyone's information, because it tells you the time frame, that not once 3 months or about a week. So it is relating to the discrete options when it says, so option 2 is much more correct. Similarly, in this situation, limit the number of response options. So tell me which one is correct, option 1 or option 2. This example in front of you in your screen. Option 2. Hey, everyone says option 2. That's so nice. Yes, that's absolutely correct. Option 2 is because in option 1, you see, you're given so many, from 10 to 100%, almost 10 options you have given. And in that case, you can maybe make a range of 0 to 20, and then maybe give only 5 options and let people choose. That's great. Now this one is the last example. Tell me which option is correct. Match the response to the mode of the question. So to what extent are you satisfied with your job? So there is one strongly agree to strongly disagree, or not at all to very much. This, okay, option 2 here again. Option 2 is a better option to choose than option 1. So with this, we will discuss the level 1, and we are going towards the level 2 of Kirkpatrick evaluation. So first one was the reaction, which can be taken immediately after the training program. And second was about the learning. Now this is where the time series, if we refer back to, and Kirkpatrick said that you can keep a range of time, some time for trainees to absorb and then come back. Now this is we also refer to as a retention of what happened in the training, and reflecting back to the learning what actually happened in the training session. So to what degree participants acquired intended knowledge, skill or attitude based on the participation in the learning event. So one thing we know, the areas of training is either there is a knowledge being targeted, or skill or attitude, or most of the time it's the combination of 3, because we know no job in the world can be done either with the absence of any one of the 3. So but training would be focusing on one of them as the key area. So whether it is knowledge, skill or attitude. So but how much of it a training has grasped has to be measured in the level 2 evaluation. So level 2 is measuring of the learning in the training program. It's a determination of at least one of it has been learned. So whether there is an attitude change in the trainee or learner, or the knowledge related to the task has been acquired, or the skill which was given during the training program has been acquired. Now, in this, one has to keep in mind the Bloom's taxonomy. I don't know how many of you have heard about it, which we keep on forgetting, that one part in the training is linked to other. When I asked that first question, when is it that training begins, evaluation planning begins, everyone answered analysis. Now that is the time when you decided the learning objective. You have to be very specific for what you are imparting the training, and that's why you have to only and only measure that. So to make the learning objective or outcome very clear, very objective to evaluate, you can follow a Bloom's taxonomy, where right from remembering, understanding, applying, creating, evaluating, what is it that you are targeting can be achieved. Now, beauty of, I'll take 1 minute and just talking about more of Bloom's taxonomy. The beauty of this model is it helps you decide the training objectives. Based on the objectives, you can decide what kind of methodology are you planning, because if you're planning that a participant will be able to do certain things, then the lecture and other things are not appropriate. You have to give more time for the demonstration and application of the training skill that you are imparting, and accordingly the evaluation planning will have to be done. So going forward in the learning evaluation, what are the key questions to be asked? So did the participant achieve the desired learning objective? And did they actually learn from it? So data points, now where are the data points for learning evaluation? Generally we say it's the test, how you can, taken at the end of the training. So it's very much part of the Kirkpatrick evaluation model, and now most of the companies don't go to that. But yes, test tells you how much is that participant or learner has learned. There could be some assignments or the project being given, or again a group discussion, question and answer, or sometimes a trainer can also be consulted that did this trainee learn, or did set of the trainees learn? Because in the earlier level of evaluation, trainees were the data point to tell what was the reaction and how happy they were about the training program. But in this case, trainer can tell whether the real learning had taken place or no. Now, one thing where statistically one aspect that could be followed here is a pre-test and post-test generally could be taken. So if you are assessing a knowledge, skill, or so if there was a training need identified, was there a pre-test score of the same participant? Now post-training, is there a test, and is there a difference in the score? So this can tell you exactly if the learning had happened, because it's not easy to measure learning. It's very tedious, it's very critical, it requires attention to detail, and then you can conclude that yes, really the learning has taken place. So we connect to the third level of Kirkpatrick model. So we talked about the reaction evaluation, which can be done immediately after the training program. Then we talked about the learning, the pre or post training, or measuring, or maybe give some time for learner and try to see if there was a retention. One could be immediately after training, one could be a little after, so 2 to 3 months after the training, and then see how much retention of the learning had taken place. Now going to the third level of the Kirkpatrick model is about the behavior evaluation. In easy terms, it can also be said as an application of what learned. So by definition, learning is the change in the behavior. So even if it is a knowledge, skill, or attitude, if you have grasped something, obviously it should percolate down to the behavior, and that's what has to be measured here. So what this says is to what degree participant is able to apply what they learned during the training, and they can bring it either to the job or to the day-to-day environment. Now, which is very difficult. Most of the time, trainees would clear the first two. But for third step to take place, there are a lot of environmental challenges also that also we are going to look in the slide, because trainee is not just the, there are other factors also which are controlling. It is not just completely in the hand of a training. So what is it? So Kirkpatrick said that there are conditions that trainee would give you wonderful feedback, reaction wise good. Trainee will give you, you can see that yes, learning had taken place. Theoretically, you can prove that he's learned. But when it comes to applying to the job, there should be a desire to change. Now, this is where we have a lot of personality issues and self-efficacy and the confidence and other aspects coming in. And more than what to do and how to do it also comes in here. The climate that organization provides should also be conducive to the application. It should be encouraging in form of a rewards or the positive change. Now, once these conditions are being met, the employees must realize that it's an opportunity for me. I have learned something. I must bring back a behavioral change and I must start to do my job in this way. See, changing, one thing is very peculiar with human mind is conditioning. You get habituated of doing one thing in a particular way, and which is very difficult. And in training, the environment setup is such that you end up behaving as if, yes, there is a change had taken place. You show that there is a learning that had happened and you have retained, nitty-gritties of doing the job, but bringing it back to the workplace and the environment is the most difficult job, and that change is very important. So this is the third level, and the higher the level, the complexity of measuring it keeps on increasing. So when we talked about the environment and the change, it's a change process. I just remember of an analogy that, it's a very common example that we often associate with the change management, that how cocoon turns to butterfly. And it's not going to be a very comfortable thing. And if you try to help or fidget with the nature too much, it can never convert itself into a beautiful butterfly. So one is that it's not going to be an easy thing for a learner or a trainee to go back and apply. And that's why there is the entire setup that is required to encourage, give the environment and trainees insight approach towards the application of training. So it has to decide about the behavioral change, and should also decide to continue, not just demonstrate it once, but to show that yes, that's permanent change taken place in the behavior. Now, this also measures the transfer of training. So trainees apply, either it could be knowledge, skill, or attitude. A behavioral evaluation is the extent to which trainees apply the learning and change their job-related behavior. Key questions to ask here are newly acquired skills or knowledge being used by the learner after the learning event is completed? Like I said, during the training, it's very easy. The environment is different, but going back to actual job environment and applying it is difficult. And how did they do it? And how did they use it? Now, where is the data point? If you go back to a trainee 6 to 9 months later and say that, do you remember you attended that and are you applying Six Sigma? Or you learned this particular feature in Excel and advanced Excel and have you started to use it? So he's going to say, maybe trainee. So should you judge, should you rely on the trainee? Yes, we can rely on the trainee, but to great extent, the data sources, the other data sources should be assessed over here is to reach out to the supervisor, immediate manager or HOD, and then try to see and ask through group discussion or interview or questionnaire that actually have the trainee started to apply this on the job. Now, this is where most of the companies also practice a reassessment test which was the learning test, which was taken maybe 3 to 6 months later, can also be repeated 6 to 9 months later, or a refresher program most of the companies do. So if you have attended 10 days training program, 6 months later, there is a refresher being kept. And like I said, there's a lot of hand holding that is required at this step, because other step will follow. The last step of training is going to follow its course if these three things are done correctly. So we talked about data source. So now when you are evaluating the change in the behavior, one has to also decide when to evaluate. So though I have said that yes, Kirkpatrick talked about the time series, and yes, there is a 3 months to 6 months and 9, but that's not a hard and fast rule. It very much depends on what was being imparted. It could be maybe from next day, the trainee can start to apply it to the job, or it may take more than a year also. So it very much depends on actually the matter, the content, the learning field on which it was focused. And how often do you want to evaluate? Too much of evaluation also is not good. and the method of evaluation also has to be observed over here. It has to be kept something which is comfortable and open. So like we already see, should you ask trainee, should you ask supervisor or HOD or the peer or 360-degree, or ask customers. So there are various other data points from which this could be captured, the change in the behavior. Oh, it's a time for question again. Now this is a question for my audience over here. I'm reading the question, and then you in the chat box you have to write me A, B, C or D. What is the correct option? If the training was designed to reach trainees how to use the new form that were developed by human resources, you can expect this to measure this transfer of training in how much time. So what would be the correct answer? I would like to see in the chat box. B, 3 weeks. Immediately was not an option, but still people have written. Okay. So D is the correct option, because I did say that there is no hard and fast rule that it would take 6 months, 9 months. So it very much depends on the topic. Here there were forms being designed, and few days later of the training, people have got to know if there were any queries, they could have reached out, clarified, and then they can start to apply. This was just to have a pause, because we have already covered 3 levels of evaluation. We'll go back. First level was the reaction evaluation. Second was the learning, and third one was behavior evaluation. So we are going to connect to the 4th level of training evaluation, results evaluation. Now this is where there is a lot of debate on the topic, a lot of criticism also of the Kirkpatrick model, though it's a very beautiful proposed model. And there are other new models which are rotating around this issue. So what does this say is that to what degree targeted outcomes occur as a result of the learning event and subsequent reinforcement. So it is not just leaving it to learning events. When we say subsequent reinforcement, we are talking about application of it on the job and how it was encouraged and supported to the employee. So there is a cost which is associated with the direct training event. But in this phase, when training is applying it on the job, there's also a cost associated. There are companies which discourage this kind of support system, because it's a costly affair, and there is a possibility that a trainee will do certain mistakes. Now this is where mistakes can be encouraged, because a permanent learning will only take place when companies have shown tolerance towards the mistakes in the job. So what does this say? To what degree targeted outcome occur as a result of the learning events and subsequent reinforcement? Then through this method, revenue increased after training program can be calculated. It evaluates the return or the benefits derived from the training, and the training objective met or not is from the organization's expectation fulfillment. So when we say it evaluates the outcome, Kirkpatrick 4th level proposes that any training being given is going to impact organization objectives or outcome. It could be sales, productivity, profit, cost, quality, employee retention or attrition you can talk about, the service qualities, the customer complaint. There could be many data points which could be talked about, and any training must reflect or give an indication towards these aspects, which we call as a result or an outcome evaluation. Now, result evaluation is the effect on the business or the environment resulting from the improved performance of training. So what are the key questions to ask here? Did the participant achieve the desired outcome of the program of the study? And did it impact the bottom line? So bottom line means whether there is a profit generation, outcome effectiveness. Can it be converted in the form of a monetary? It could be a non-monetary, but there is a possibility of converting it in the monetary form and then measure. So for example, a company imparts to its managers the grievance handling procedure. And after the training program, you realize that maybe, okay, 10 minutes time of each manager is saved because now they have understood the formats or the compliances. Now you see 10 minutes time of, if there were 3 managers or supervisors or employee involved in the entire process of handling, and if there were 10 such grievances in a month, so it boils down to one working day of a manager. And then can you convert it in the monetary term? So if that has improved, then definitely manager is putting that time in either catering to a customer better or dealing with the quality issues, but somewhere. So that is what it means, that there has to be an impact on the business, or it should be, we should be able to convert it into monetary form if it is not directly linked to the monetary. And if it could be directly measured, something like productivity improvement, quality improvement, turnover, morale, profit, cost, many such things. Now, in this case, getting the data is very critical, and there are many sources from where the data has to be collected. It could be employer and supervisor surveys. It could be interviews. It could be focus groups. Again, you can ask employee, but employee will not be able to give you that honest answer over here. Then there are cost data, profits, sales data, financial data, compliances data, satisfaction survey, job satisfaction survey. So many such data points can be retrieved to prove that training has brought in the effect in the result evaluation. Now, I have come across one article which was talking about that the cost implemented, one is training cost, but if you want to do a 4 level of evaluation in Kirkpatrick model, that itself is a very costly affair. And that also is one of the reasons why most of the companies leave it to the level 1 of evaluation. But if you have invested a big amount in the training and development, and there has to be a value proposition put to the management and buy-in from their side, now this kind of impact is expected, and that's why it's essential to prove this. Often HR is being questioned that okay, you're asking about this much budget for training, but how is it going to impact the bottom line? Now this is going to be a good data point to prove return on investment within HR. If there are other functions where you cannot so easily prove the return on investment, at least in training you can make a case and put it to the top management. So once again, if I may have to repeat, this level measures the success of the program in terms that managers or executive can understand that there's an increased production, improved quality, decreased cost, frequency of accident, you see, that was not covered earlier, the sales, or even a small level of profits. And from a business or the organization perspective, overall reason for which the training program was imparted. Yet the 4th level evaluation is actually very difficult and typical to address. Determining results in financial terms is difficult to measure, and it's hard to link directly with the training. Now, what kind of outcome, there are others. So we finished discussing, you see, Kirkpatrick proposed that, from level 1 to level 4, you have to go from reaction, learning, job behavior, and organization results. So at each type of outcome, there are other factors also which are affecting outcome. It is not purely training is the reason. If there is a change in the productivity and you go and put a case to the management and say that it's the change in the productivity is solely because of training, that kind of proposition is a bit difficult to prove there, because there are other factors also which will come in, maybe the machinery, maybe environment, new technology, or maybe new manager, supervision style, and there are many other variables which would come, and that's why it becomes more challenging as you go up high in the hierarchy and try to prove training effectiveness. So just see the level 1 reaction, perceived match between trainees' expectation and what training provided is easy. So now, but why this is critical over here? A trainee may come with a lot of expectation from the training It does not understand that there is a training objective which trainer understands, which management understands, and hence it can affect reactions. Now, reaction, when Kirkpatrick was proposing this model, he focused a lot on reaction because that if trainee will have a positive frame of mind, positive perception about training, the chances of training giving its results to the higher level is more. The chances of trainee learning is more. So the perception matters. So that's why when I said happiness, emotions, feelings, it's very important that trainees actually kept happy during the training phase. In fact, I was reading and I also came across one article which said that yes, humor that trainer brings in, how it makes trainees relaxed and more open to the content that trainer is giving, contradicting to other cases. So going back to the learning trainees readiness, so what's the inside out kind of approach? You may do 100 things, but unless that willingness is there from the inside, no training can be effective. The motivation level, the material, the kind of content, is it matching to the learning style of the trainee? And there are other combinations. So and trainers behavior, like we talked about humor and also, this is where the learning will get affected. Now, talking about job behavior, the transfer of the training, there are other factors, your how open your colleagues are, how much support your supervisor is giving, organization believes in mistakes that you may do while you're applying a new thing, and are they open to your suggestions and comments if you are applying a technique that you have learned in the training. So now this is where the job behavior could get affected, and these are the other factors which will enforce the behavior. And just see the last one, why it is making it the fourth level more complex is because of the external environment in the organization, the economy, the regulations, suppliers, there are other internal issues, there are policy issues, procedures, the competencies that we talked about, employees' performance. Are you linking, if employee brings in a change in the result, are you linking it to their performance appraisal? Because you see, training is very closely linked to the performance management function, right from the identification to the measure or the impact assessment. So most of the time we say training need assessment takes place because of the performance appraisal or performance management process, but this is where it gets captured. Now this is what is required. So when it comes to end result, I is giving employees certain points or reward or consideration, encouragement for bringing in change in the organization results. So we finished talking about 4 levels. Just a few more slides and then we are open for the discussion. Is that who is interested in this kind of data? So we remember we talked about 4 parties, but there are others. But now why should we put in so much effort? Because even when Kirkpatrick was writing its book, it talked about the cost that is associated with all 4 levels of evaluation. And is there a real need of going and evaluating every training that you are imparting to all 4 levels, and whom does it makes happy? So a trainer maybe would be interested in the reaction, learning, behavior, but results, perhaps trainer is not interested. See, other than trainers maybe are not interested in either of them. Training manager definitely, because we talked about as a value proposition about their department. When you talk about there are other departments with whom you discuss, and hence and when training department is considered to be a performance consultant is where this would come in. So yes, definitely they are interested in all 4 levels. Trainee is also interested in reaction, learning, behavior, but not as much as that how much is my contribution improving the organization's performance. Perhaps trainees don't have a buy-in over there. Now that this is where the real issue could be. Then supervisors are interested in the behavior change that you bring in and results. They're not interested whether you like the training, whether how much did you learn, but you should be able to apply it to the training, to the actual job, and there should be results, outcomes out of the training that was being imparted. And top management is mostly interested in the performance, in the results and the outcome in terms of profit, cost, quality that we have already discussed, those variables. So what happened when Kirkpatrick proposed this 4 level? There were a lot of criticism also, like I said, when going back to the 4th level. So there's a person named Jack Phillip. He added his topping, and he added 5th level to the Kirkpatrick model and said, no, ROI in training is the most important evaluation of training. You will prove training is effective when there is a return on investment. Now it comes with some caution. Of course, he's proposed that, but he's proposed it where the cost associated is too high, and then directly because of training you could bring in the investment. That may true with some kind of training program, but not with all sorts of training program. This is my favorite slide. When we talk about training and its measurement and its impact and evaluation, you may do 4 levels of evaluation, you may do ROI, but when you say training is an investment and you really want to measure the impact of it, it is like an iceberg. So when you say analogy, when you take an analogy of iceberg only 10% of it is visible, and we say 90% of that iceberg's bottom is not visible, which is far more huge. And you dare stop training and you are then going to see the results. However, when you want to measure the effect of training, perhaps you will be only able to measure the tip of the iceberg, but not the other aspects that training is directly or indirectly helping your organization is doing. There's no theory behind it. There's nothing could be proved because it's not empirical, but it's a control and an experiment group. You will have to create 2 groups and see that yes, control group is working fine and experiment group is not. So I am done. Just a quick recap. I think I'm very much on time. Just a quick recap for the participants. Level 1, if you are telling it to yourself, you can say it evaluates the reaction of the participants who have gone through the training process. Level 2 talks about learning during the session. Level 3, which talks about the behavioral aspects, that what can be taken back to the workplace. The level 4, which talks about the business results that could be derived from these training program. I was told by the program director that if possible, if I could do some case studies, but I think I would like to pause here if there are any question and answers, and then if time permits or if audience wants, then maybe we will have a look at this case study, or maybe after a few questions, maybe we can have a look at this case study.
Thank you, Dr. Pandey. Thank you very much. I think you made a very comprehensive presentation on the Kirkpatrick's model. Most of us who have participated today would have better clarity with respect to what each level means, what are the various data points or the sources of information that give us the results or the benefits of each level of evaluation. I think it has been a great learning for me personally, and this must be the true for everybody else. I have one observation before we go to the questions. And the observation is that in my training experience, what I realized is that evaluation of training is the most important topic or the component of training. Evaluation of training is what brings credibility to training function and to the trainer. Unfortunately, trainers don't want evaluation, and the clients and the managements, they want evaluation or measurement of impact of training. So it's a paradox which we are struggling with, and I'm sure during the course of next couple of minutes, we will have some answers to this issue of how do we make sure that both clients and trainers come together for evaluation. Ravinder, can we have the questions, sir?
Yes, sir. So any questions, please raise your hand or just type in the chat. Question is, how can behavioral training be measured at all levels of Kirkpatrick model?
So when we decided training or for any training, there were three aspects to it. Either it is a knowledge, skill, or attitude. So I think we are referring to the attitude aspect of it. So I'll go back to Bloom's taxonomy. So there is an affective domain that Bloom addresses. And so Bloom has tried to lay down typical behavioral attribute, which will change definitely after the training. So one, as we know, that reaction, is very easy for the behavioral or the attitude based training. For example, let's say we can take an example of maybe customer satisfaction is also a value in customers' feedback. So you may have a difference of opinion, but still customer is giving the feedback. So that could be one, is that reaction could be done. Learning is okay. And on the job, for on the job transfer, one is that you have to encourage, give environmental support, and then maybe take a feedback from the customers and the superior. And going back to the fourth level, that is result, directly we cannot link, but if we have customer satisfaction survey, that can indicate that yes, there has been an improvement. So we're saying that we will have to quantify the non-quantifiable, and non-monetary aspects also will have to be given a token of monetary aspect to it, and then try to measure the fourth level of evaluation. And I think most of the trainers struggle with it, and they are not able to prove it. And now then again, if they stop, then iceberg rule follows.
Okay, so next question is that should all kinds of trainings, small or big, have 4 levels of evaluation?
Not at all. In my personal opinion, no. While I was reading about it, and a few days back also, one paper said that the fourth level is the thing. Every training being imparted must have a business proposition to it. And there has to be a business outcome to it, because we're talking about business environment, and hence the fourth level is the most important one. Just do that and give away with the earlier three. However, in my personal opinion, I really don't think so. I also stand by the data where they say that 84% of the companies are only measuring level 1, and there would be just 5% of them which are actually going to the fourth level. See, it's like take an analogy of, again, it's like five portions of fruits or vegetables are important for everyone to consume in a day. And now if you say, everyone will say yes, I know it has to be done. There would be other set of people, no, I think I would like to improve upon it, and maybe I'm not doing enough. There will be very few who will say that yes, I know it correctly and I am doing it. So it's the same, and in my personal opinion, not at all every training will have to go for 4 levels of evaluation.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Next question is, are there any pitfalls to Kirk's model?
Pitfalls we did discuss, and this is where the ROI came. And Jack Phillip, when he proposed that, yes, I'm adding 5th level, because Kirkpatrick in his own model did not talk about return on investment. He was talking about cost benefit, was talking about cost effectiveness, was talking about cost and other evaluation. He did not mention investment and return on investment and ROI kind of thing. So that came. And essentially, essentially his criticism is also about that there I have to be level 1, 2, 3. A person can straight away go to level 3. Why level 2 evaluation? So maybe learning could not be measured. You find that when you wanted to show an empirical evidence that a person learned, did not show that, but went to the job and could actually apply it. So there is a possibility.
Okay, so next is how to evaluate the behavioral training results.
I think we discussed that, sir.
Okay, so the last question, when you spoke about evaluation, pre-training and post-training, how about engagement, observation, evaluation?
Yes,
Please
engagement.
share your view and explain.
Very important. Employing the trainees' engagement. See it. So when we're talking about emotions, perception, and happiness, and positive frame of mind that a trainee should come, and humor of a trainer, if you recollect that, that's about the engagement of the trainee. And so there are a hell lot of techniques which are lying, and trainers do. Trust me, trainers and God are no different. In 1 or 2 days training program, they try to use all their tools and techniques, trying to match to the training style, bring in the training methodology, engage, results, keep them happy, keep management also happy. It's not easy.
So, ma'am, we have a lot of questions coming, but time is short. So, you can sum up and then sir can take it over.
Maybe, so I think I am done with what I had to say. Maybe Dr.
Yeah,
Abdullah.
yeah. Thank you, Dr. Pandey. I think we had a very participative session. We had not only knowledge sharing from you, but also questions from the participants in terms of how to apply this knowledge to the real life situation. And I'm sure this session would be very productive and useful, not only to the students of higher study diploma program, but also all other trainees, people who are practicing training, people who are delivering training, and people who may be teaching training. Because we have, in the last 1 hour or so, received lots of information, lots of tools, lots of methods, lots of concepts, which will help us in delivering this model to people and making them to appreciate how training can be kind of quantified. Because when we talk about measurement, there is a approach to quantify training. It may not be in terms of digits, but it is a quantification in some form, whether it is a rating scale or it is on other format, but we are trying to quantify that in order to measure it. So thank you very much, Dr. Pandey, for all your effort and wisdom. We are thankful to you. Over to you, Gurvinder.
Thank you, sir. So, we'll end the session here. Thank you to all of you.